Yeah. That is a good goal.
Yeah. And in terms of people that I work with, you'll have heard Per Bristow, if you've been on my YouTube channel, mentioned a bunch of times, but I have gotten so much value from that guy
Yeah.
with both my voice, but also just his attitude and his understanding of skill development as it applies to anything, like whether it's sports, music, whatever. I've applied that to a bunch of stuff in my life, not only the music side of it. And yeah, it's one of those things you think, okay, at some stage I signed up for a online program that I downloaded with a singing coach, and now I think it's maybe like 8 or 9 years since I did that and started
Yeah.
improving my voice. And
Yeah.
this last weekend I did a virtual event with him that it's like, man, I just got a whole lot more juice for like what's next in my chapter of music as well. So um there's a stack of people.
Huge.
There's so many people around the globe that I'm like, I think it's so inspiring, from
Yeah.
Bethany Hamilton as a surfer. I don't know if you know her story.
No.
Shark bit off one arm. She
Oh,
still competed. No, what's the word? Like in the world circuit,
yeah.
surfers with one arm. Not like we're going to give you a concession for having one arm. She's like, no, I've just got one arm, and I'll still compete with the best of you around the world. Thank
Wow.
you. So I mean, stuff like that, I'm like, oh man, I haven't even scratched the surface. I've got all my limbs,
Yeah.
and yeah, but those stories and a bunch of those people really motivate me, and
That's
yeah,
awesome. That's awesome, man.
yeah,
That's inspiring. Hey,
yeah. Check her out.
I will, man. Definitely. I'll check her out. And then, what about like when you're playing live? How did you sort of develop a confidence when you're on stage? Is that just through just keep playing live, it comes?
Through absolutely sucking.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I was super shy and nervous, and I love music, so I kept putting myself out there, and
Yeah.
started with like little restaurant gigs, um, and you learn that like mid song, people come up and want to shake your hand, right? Like, you sort of like, I want to, if Boss or TC Helicon develops a pedal that I can, hit, and it somehow wires up across my forehead, like
Oh yeah.
currently busy, something like
Yeah.
that. Just for those gigs where you're sort of like, you're not on stage, you're playing it at a local venue and stuff, and
Yeah. Yeah.
like
You're kind of doing
mid
something.
mid tune, you're like recording a loop, right? And someone's
Yeah.
like, hey,
Oh
hey, hey, you're like, uh-huh, uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah.
I need to concentrate right now.
Yeah, totally. So I
Oh,
will buy it. I will buy it and promote it if anyone comes up with it.
maybe Elon Musk will with his Neuralink. He'll come up with
There you
something like a
go.
microchip in the brain.
But yeah, a lot of that stuff, like honestly, I just kept putting myself in a place for doing gigs and different shows,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
um I've gone through phases of thinking, yeah, I feel confident, great, and then having a little bit of time and coming and doing the first show back after a little break or whatever, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm super nervous again, like, and so that's the beauty of it though, is
Yeah.
it's every show is a different show, and yeah, it's kind of
Definitely.
like even we did a show in December, and for some reason I decided to play a song that I hadn't played since the previous tour, and it was like 5 months, I think 6 months that they just hadn't played the song. I'm like, yeah, cool,
Hmm.
let's do that. I couldn't pitch it for some reason. Like I was just like, where does this? What is the note? Like, what am I singing? It was horrendous. And like genuinely, like we kept playing the groove, but basically stopped the song. I was like, I'm real sorry, guys. Like, I'm
I
playing
forgot
it
my
in a
song.
I'm playing well. I'm playing in a different key, like
Yeah.
which sure it shouldn't really matter, but like just it's not happening. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And when you
yeah.
play live, do you sort of play like in a different key normally?
Uh, sometimes, yeah,
Yeah.
2 secs.
No worries, brother.
Yeah, different keys. I do mix it up. For a lot of stuff, if it's if it's an important show or depending on the thing, then I'm like, yeah, I want to do it with practice and not surprise myself. But I tune to E flat as a standard, and then when I play with different people, I tune up to E, and then I'm playing in different positions, and sometimes it gets me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does
Does that change the way you have to sing and stuff as well?
Can do. I mean, not so much the way of singing, but just sometimes you realize that notes, that sit in certain places. You're like, oh, okay, that might be better. So,
yeah.
But I mean, I like that stuff. It's part of, as much as in the moment it can feel challenging, or or if you really do something, terrible on stage, it's sort of like, it's part of the journey, it's part of learning, and I become a better musician for it. So
definitely,
as much I would, it would be beautiful not to ever make any mistakes ever again. Just be like, that was astounding every night. Like, it's probably not how it's going to go.
No, I don't think so. And they say like every gig is worth 10 jams as well, which is pretty. I like to look at it like that way.
Nice.
Get out there and keep playing as live as much as you can.
Cool.
Yeah.
Taking it.
Yeah, David, I just got a couple more questions before I got to let you go, brother.
Yeah, sure.
Sweet, man. I guess one of them is like, what would be like 1 to 3 books that you would recommend, or like what's a book that you would gift to someone?
Honestly, I looked at that question from you, right? And I was just like, the book that consistently comes up for me is a book by Dr. Dane here. And now that I say it, I'm like, what the flip's it called?
Dr. Dane here.
It's gone totally blank. This is like one of those gig things when you're like,
who's Dr. Dane here?
Oh, there we go. I'm like, can't believe I forgot that. It's called Being You, Changing the World.
Being You, Changing the World.
Epic title for a book.
Yeah. Is that one you'd gift to like a lot of people?
Honestly, half of it almost doesn't make sense, and it's kind of not supposed to. But if you read the whole book, and then what typically happens is people are like, something is different. I feel different. I'm kind of like lighter, more fun. I have no idea why. I still don't understand like kind of what he meant. But there's a bunch of questions and stuff in there, and the way he puts things, you're just like, what did I just read?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure what I read, but like, I'm feeling good today. Cool.
That's crazy.
So sorry, I'm just getting into the important things. I've run out of coffee, but I have chocolate. So.
Oh, nice. What chocolate have you got?
This is
Veneto.
little orange with chili tonight. That's what we're rocking.
Nice, brother.
For the it's a Slank podcast special.
Yeah, the sugar Slank. Put it down. Love it, man. I love it.
Yeah. So honestly, that book will it just shifts stuff.
Yeah.
And some people get mad at it, and they're like, "This book's frustrating me," and you're like, "Okay, cool, but has your life changed?"
oh, blowing my mind there, David. That's interesting. I'm intrigued. I want to check that out. That sounds like epic. Another question, brother, is what does music mean to you?
Just a nice, simple question, yeah. Love it. there's so much, when I think back for myself, I look at music and I'm like, I don't know if I'd still be here on the planet,
Yeah.
Because that has really been my escape, my way of processing emotion and all sorts of stuff at different times. And it's sort of like, I'm not sure I have the words to necessarily describe it, but I think that probably kind of gives the
Sums it
picture,
up.
eh? Yeah.
Definitely, man. 100%. That's huge. Yeah. Feel that. And
Right,
what
hang on.
another?
Chocolate before the next question.
All right. Yeah. Get it into you.
Okay, I'm ready. I've
This
got
is
a
the last
mouthful of
one.
chocolate.
This
I'm
is the
totally
last one,
ready.
brother. All right. This is a question I like. Is what are your three like main values in life? You can think of three values that you like live by.
I think there's one that keeps coming back for me, which is it's something around freedom. I don't know quite what the definition is, and I definitely put myself through more challenges than I need to at times because of that. Because I'm like, you know what? I want to have the option to say yes, say no, be there, be not, and it's definitely part of why I do shows and I play music, and and we can hang out at a random time of the night and do this podcast. Like, I love it. It's great. So yeah, there's definitely, we'll just say freedom, like to pursue the next thing that I feel drawn to. I guess I really value that, and I think that that has me contribute more to other people as a result, because it's like I'm doing the next thing that I'm just into, rather than being like dragged into it. Like, you will do this for 9 hours. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be here, but I'm gonna be angry about it.
That's
So
huge.
freedom. There's definitely like contribution for me. It's just something that it's wired into me somehow. I like being able to make a difference, help someone. I mean, it's kind of one of those things where I feel like no one really needs help, but there's people that appear at different points where it's like one little thing can just shortcut so much. And it's kind of like telling the guitarist that like has really sore fingers and they don't really want to practice and it's too hard. It's like, it probably doesn't matter what you tell them a lot of the time, but maybe on any one given day, or the person that's really wants to do it, but man, it hurts, and you're like, you can say something that just has them do the next day and the next day, and then because they got through that, or they got inspired, or they learnt the next little thing, then they're like, do you remember when I like asked you about that? It's like, hey. So number 3. Clearly I only live by 2 values. I've no other values. That's it.
Fair enough.
I don't know. I was mulling over this and I was like, they're the 2 that kind of stick out there for me, So
yeah, man, that's perfect.
If I come up with another one, I'll let you know.
Yeah, hit us up on the DMs. David, man, thank you so much for your time.
It's been a pleasure.
You're a legend. Where can everyone find you on the socials and everywhere?
Honestly, like most things, if you search David Shanhun, spelled SHANHUN, I will appear. But yeah, obviously on Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, all the standard sort of stuff. And the website's just davidshanhun.com as well. So
beautiful, bro.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for taking the time. Pleasure.
It's been awesome.
Awesome, man. No doubt we'll be in touch.
Yeah. Sweet.
It's cool to connect with like-minded people and musicians, and I think, as I was saying before, we're connected not only with music but also with Joe Dispenza and that sort of different thinking. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of juice in there, man. I think with whatever you're up to in life, it's cool.
Yeah, definitely, bro. All the best, my man. Do you have any gigs coming up?
Yeah, I'm back in Auckland next weekend and playing 2 little venues, Cleaver and Co. on the Friday the 31st, and the Auckland Fish Market on Sunday the 2nd of August, which is this beautiful little courtyard of a bunch of. I always feel like I have to explain it. So I say the Auckland Fish Market to people, and they're like, "Oh man, like this is gonna smell," and I'm like, "No, it's one of my favorite gigs. Like there's this beautiful courtyard with a bunch of like bars and venues, and they have it's all fresh like seafood and all sorts of stuff that they're serving. But it's not like So anyway, I probably should get over that for myself, but there we go. I've explained it anyway, so it's too late now. Much, I can't go back.
That's it, brother.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Man. No worries. All the best anyway with your career, your music, and we'll be in touch, no doubt.
Yeah, cheers. Appreciate it.
No worries. See you later, brother.
Yeah.
Thanks, my man.
Sweet. Cheers.
See you, bro. Yes, boys. Yes, boys. Yes, boys.